Hello, everyone, and thanks again for joining us here on the Crypto Weather channel. I just wanted to point out something real quick that we have yet to point out in any of our videos about the patterns that come off of the forecast model, such as the halving high pressure zone and the spring median defrost zone here in every cycle, right? And so that thing is the position that each of these patterns are in right now are not set in stone, right? So the reason why we have these patterns in these positions in every single cycle is because these are the this is the average uh, most likely place these patterns will occur in each cycle, right? So these are the default positions, right? So the spring median is in the middle of crypto spring, right? And then the halving high pressure zones are centered around the halving, right? With the exception of the cumulus triangles, those are pretty set in stone because they are based off of the category one price line and the future halving price, right? And so, but even those will potentially change at some point in the future once we cross into the halving. We'll get that fixed price in there. We'll plug that new price, that price that's etched in time. We'll plug that price into the forecast model, and it will recalculate this entire both of these triangles here. Remember, we have the lower and the upper, right? Hopefully, it won't be too far off. It won't recalculate the triangles too far off because this is a forecast, right? So if it is far off, then obviously the model is not accurate, right? At forecasting the price, but we'll see, right? So just a quick example, right? So for example, the spring median, excuse me, we've actually decided to change the name of this to just the spring defrost zone, right? Once we get up to the future halving price, right? Um, that's maximum defrost zone, right? The price coming out of crypto winter, right? That deep freeze, got the price dropping there, and then we come out in crypto spring, right? In that defrost zone there. So, but as I stated, this doesn't have to happen, in crypto spring or in the middle of crypto spring for that matter, right? Like this one here, right? Directly in the middle of crypto spring, we had that defrost there. Back in 2015, the crypto spring, right? One could argue, right, depending on where you want to center this zone here, we like to center it around the point where we hit the future halving price, right? That's that maximum. We've completely defrosted the price there, right? So, one could argue, that real defrost didn't happen until well over here, right? So we center it around that point, and this was obviously all the way in crypto summer. It wasn't even in crypto spring, right? So this is just that maximum defrost zone here, right? So that's a good example of that. Also, the halving high pressure zone, right, could be lower, could be higher or lower, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily be in this area here, um, right? Like for example, if we go over to the current cycle, if we can get that back there, if we go over to the current cycle, right? For example, if I pull this all the way down, this halving high pressure zone, that outer boundary there, um, that's why we drew, as you can remember, we drew an inner and outer halving high pressure zone just to further illustrate the point of, this could, literally be any shape or size. let's pull this down all the way down to the La Nina line, right? And one could argue that, this is actually where the halving high pressure zone is sitting at this point in time, which is driving this price into the ground there, right? And eventually, will break through it. But right now, it could possibly be sitting here, having some downward pressure on that price there. So, I just wanted to point that out because I realized, I hadn't pointed that out in the videos. I have mentioned it before um, in the halving high pressure zone video, but it's really true for all the patterns. Like I said, with the exception of the cumulus triangles, right? So that's just something we want to keep in mind as we look at these patterns in order to analyze and try to forecast what the future price is going to be. Thanks for watching.